Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you didn't see my story, my carnivore story so far video, please check that out. It explains why I'm needing to reboot after months and months of not sticking to my carnivore diet and eating a standard American diet because of several issues. It's time for me to reboot, and here's how it went. So November 1st, 2022 is my day one, and I weighed myself to get a starting point. I weighed 249.8, not 250. And I only had one meal that day because of my schedule, which is not unusual for me. Started off the evening meal with a couple of grilled burgers. Got my new egg round molds, which I think are completely unnecessary, but kind of cool. And had 4 eggs with my 2 burgers and some butter for good measure. Then on day 2, I did have 2 meals that day. At my desk, I had 2 tins of sardines and water and a slice of cheese. And then that evening, I warmed up some leftover beef tongue. I simmered that tongue because it was cold in the refrigerator in some homemade beef broth to warm it up and keep it from getting dried out. And then had some silky scrambled eggs to accompany the beef tongue. This was a 3-egg scramble, not a 4-egg scramble. And I had some Parmesan cubes to accompany it. The little cup of juice is the leftover beef broth that I simmered the tongue in. And that rounded out day 2. On day 3, I went ahead and weighed myself, and it looked like I lost just about 6 pounds from my starting point. And yes, I know that most of that is water weight. But the thing is, I shouldn't be carrying around that much water anyway if I can lose that much water that easily. I was not dehydrated. I kept hydrated during these last couple of days. So it's a good start. For day 3, I kicked off a morning meal by making up some bacon and some ground beef. I used some of that bone broth that I had and made a soup, put a couple of eggs on top for meal number 1. Then later that evening, actually it was late in the afternoon, which is what's been helping me so much, I had a couple of grilled sirloin steaks. I cooked these steaks to medium rare, which is how I like them done. Put them on the cutting board, and because sirloin steak is relatively lean compared to other cuts, I put some butter on there. Then I made a 3-egg scramble. Decided to forego dirtying any plates and just put it all on the cutting board, and decided to eat it just like that. These steaks came out just right for me, medium rare. And you know that little tab of butter with some of the beef juice on it, sitting right on top of those eggs? Yeah, that was pretty tasty too. So this is where I started, and then this is where I ended. It was fantastic. Day 4 started out just like a day or 2 ago with some hamburger, bacon, soup with homemade bone broth and some eggs. And then I ate a little bit later in the day than I had been. It was Friday evening, and I had a cheeseburger, a little bit of smoked kielbasa, and a strip steak. I also added about 2 tablespoons of butter with this. And later I had some sugar cravings, but I went to bed. Now to start day 5, I had 2 salmon patties, sprinkled with just a tiny bit of Parmesan and Gouda cheese on top, and then added 2 eggs. It was not only delicious, it was really filling. I liked these salmon patties so much that soon I'll be posting another video on how to make them. And I think if you give them a try, you may find yourself wanting to make them again and again. And that brings us to day 6, which for me was a Sunday. And I started off the day with a delicacy. Raw Swiss cheese holes. made from the finest wholes only of a block of Swiss cheese. They tasted as good as it looks. Of course, I'm kidding. I just had one meal in the evening on Sunday because my day started at 4 a.m. and it was busy. But for that meal, I had a leftover cheeseburger, some bacon, and a 4-egg omelet stuffed with ground pork and a little bit of cheese. And I'll tell you, it really hit the spot after not eating all day. And that brings us to day 7. And as things worked out, those Swiss cheese holes were so good, I had leftovers on day 7 and just ended up having one meal in the evening. But boy, was it good. I rounded out the week with a nice strip steak topped with butter, some grilled shrimp, a leftover salmon patty from earlier in the week, and some additional beef fat chunks because that strip steak was pretty lean. So overall, I felt pretty good about this week. I stuck to the plan of meat, eggs, salt, and water. I slept well this week, and I felt really good overall, physically, mentally, and emotionally. But let's take some time to look at the numbers. First of all, my weight. So at the beginning of day 1, I weighed 249.8 pounds, not 250. And at the beginning of day 8, after 7 full days, I weighed 238 pounds. So a loss of just shy of 12 pounds on the scale. But just as importantly, my blood pressure came down. At the beginning of day 8, it was 114/78, down from when I started. I haven't had any blood pressure medicine in 4 or 5 days. So as happy as I am, I did not find time to find a sunset to raise my arms in victory and leap for joy. That'll have to wait for another time, but still, overall, I'm pleased and I'm encouraged and I'm looking forward to the week ahead. I hope you'll check back next week and see what I ate in a week and see what my progress is. And I sure do appreciate you all watching this video and for your support.